So we are in the free expression of something that is fully expressed by an idea, where something that isn't fully aware of itself begins to remember its awareness at different levels of itself, where it itself has become many things in different ways, in different areas of this world. First, our planetoid, the one we are currently on, and then others that we also inhabit currently today. These places all have their own relationship with us that creates the different ideas in spectrum for humanity to share that genome at a collective level. It's as if an invisible magnet shares that information at every level with us all across the universe. And somewhere within that framework of information, you have the one who created this idea that is separating that from the information I'm giving you now in a way that protects us from that space where you are currently alone with yourself, having this experience with all of yourselves as the entirety of this expression and animus that we see. Everything in motion. Anything your mind touches, it is. Except for the space where you are actually with me. That space is yours alone. We all have that one singular space where this information is touching all of that information and lighting up to touch anything the human genome currently has within its own synchronized, very multifaceted, and fiercely diverse world of being. That connected to what you do not see, the one completely in control that knows all things before it happens as it's happening. Outside of this experience, you, giving guidance to you, not separate from that, remembering its awareness at that level, so that you, the individual I am, will remember your connection to all things mentioned in a way that Source can now provide you, because you are currently in the preliminary work for something that is going to be, though it is not yet being. What you are not seeing is what isn't here. What isn't here will always not be here. That is what you are not seeing. The limit to that is, again, the idea. While you are remembering your awareness of yourself outside of this, giving yourself these clues, remember that self is never in physical form, because the idea does not give you space to hold it while you are here in the expression of all things in the mind's eye of all being the one that created this experience for us. We, children of that, I am being, we'll begin to touch outside the spectrum of our own experience as soon as we remember our full awareness with the self at this level without complications to provide any reason for you to use a word like limit, which means you would have to let go entirely of all conception. The only way to do that is to possess one key ingredient: nothing. A true nothing does not exist. When we speak like this, we create duality. That is a trap. But because I'm talking about it, I'm participating with it. What does that mean? Well, what I've really done is, again, built the framework for something with limits, to talk about a limit. But outside of that, the framework is allowing me to tell you that that is something you will not always possess. When that time comes, only you would know. And this is after you've built a relationship with all things in the genome that is touching all things as a being in its entirety. This expression we call life. Outside of that is again the dualistic nature of this experience. You, the self, experiencing this experience as the one self, which is the one that created this experience. Those walls rest within the belly of that one being that aims to appease what's in its belly, being also what we are today. So in the belly of this I am, the great I am is seeing ways to see itself now also. Like this, that being grows in its awareness, and throughout the course we call again limits, or time. We crawl back into something that is limitless and reset this algorithm on a dime. We stop right there. And that is where we rest. At our best, you are at your best. That is a conscious being when you are all being plus the being that creates. Now, you create here with what you are seeing of the free world. For whatever reason you wish, it is for your own good pleasure. Outside of that, there are other things going on that are testing you with those limits also. So when you say you are limitless, make sure that you truly understand it before you make proclamations or claim feats that you don't already possess. Because here, and this may be a work of a trick, up its sleeve, you do not rest with that limitlessness entirely. So how do we know about it? Well, because the world we speak of is in your mind's eye. And those worlds will be built by the experience, or will be built by those who are aware enough of the experience to recreate that experience. If the experience creates itself without you, the co-creator, being aware of the ability to do such things, at a certain point, the idea of creating anything is as mundane as your ability to rest. You just won't be able to. Because your purpose here has been squashed by your ability to moderate your lifestyles at the level you wish. It would require a great deal of information for you to wake up yourself enough, to be open-minded enough to understand what I'm saying means that you are allowing the environment, aka the experience, to shape your afterlife with the experience itself. So when you create a miserable life, or lie to people about your seemingly perfect life, Misery has a way of catching up to you in the end. When you start to think about what it meant, when you think about what matters, all of that, well, fundamentally what you were missing is, again, what you needed in the beginning. And that is something we as human beings, unfortunately, are suffering. It is possible we could suffer this forever. I know that we will continue to give birth to new us's, and it is you giving birth to yourself until you're done here, which will be whenever that's finished. I don't know when that is. I have a good idea, but it's an approximation, so limited by those who require exact incrementations of the future. Again, I've mentioned this before. If you want a future, I suggest it doesn't look like anything you're suggesting now, because a true future doesn't exist beyond this moment, because beyond this moment is the past entirely. That was a past moment. That's what's beyond this moment. Otherwise, the future is somewhere where outside of this, again, we don't exist with ourselves fully aware, because if we did, I wouldn't be here talking to you about it. So far, that's what I have. That's what I found. I'm still searching through my information and acquiring purpose with it also. It's very difficult for me to not deal with things when the world is suffering. I suffer also. So me doing what I'm doing is to ease the suffering. If this information helps you, good. I'm very happy. Because all you are doing is coming back into the awareness of that nothingness, and what it's going to do for you is help you reprogram yourself from the programs that are getting in the way. Duality, the idea itself, all of those things, these are all things that you as a human being are capable of letting go of at a level that is godly. To say the least, it's being reborn. Terms we've heard before. This is a skill in some aspects you could manifest on your own. There are also alternatives for resetting the human psyche as well. Your growth is not determined by what isn't here. It's determined by what you're doing with what has already been. So don't worry about what has already been, and keep growing. Because what has already been is not here now. That's letting go of the past. That's a true future. And all I did was walk you into those words. Just like I do with myself also. So, now that we're here in the moment, free from future, past, and present tense, we'll say the moment doesn't exist also, so you can just step outside of the framework of time and start to wiggle between the lines here. When you go into meditation, that's what you do. And you go in to yourself as well as out. Through these worlds, they are helping you as much as you help it. If your intentions are not pure, you will get lost there. Just like you would anywhere here if you are adventuring somewhere you're not familiar with, especially in that world. You might get lost or come back with something you didn't want. So make sure you're doing things with as much information as you may before you just jump in the ship without reading the manual to take off. to the moon today. You're gonna need lots of information before you go into those worlds. Commanding it, it's a bit different. That's not how that works. That's more of an experiential, less directive experience in the beginnings, preliminaries. You just more or less let it guide you without resisting anything. At a certain point, when you begin to create your awareness and are no longer subjected to the environment's ability to create your world, you begin to create your world from the inside. There, at that moment, when you realize that is what it's for. Once you've done this, now you can take the idea of nothing, come back to reality. It's something. What that did for you is being reborn. Each time you do this, it will help you reset to be where you are right now. So all the things that were here that you once called dualistic is no longer dualistic because you have unified the process of co-creating and are now co-creating with time. That's what this is for. Now, the human genome is a beautiful thing. If you want to get it all at once, you need to let go of surfing through it at any point of focus and let your focus just be all things. Feel all things. Just let it go and be with it all things. That's how that works. So it's a bit like Star Wars. And then when you're done playing in that world, you come back to this one with more information about what's really happening here. It wouldn't do you very much good to talk about it. To most of the people around you, it won't make sense. I found for some of us, it never will. I might be one of those. If that's true, okay. I'm dealing with that now. It might just be that I'm the only one that understands what I'm saying. That's okay, but obviously others understood this too. So I'm thanking you most of all before I thank myself, because that's what that's about, is helping each other through this. So if I helped you co-create something free from something that was being created by the environment itself through those programs, well, this program says you create that program to co-create inside this mindset through a zero space, because that idea doesn't exist. But the idea says you do. Now, so do something with it. Be positive. Be a beautiful part of the world. Don't hurt others because you're jealous or find yourself limited with things that no longer matter. You're not here to validate others or be validated by anything. Equally, don't put others down because they're doing that. That's not okay either. Don't get caught in the traps here. Socialize. Be friends. Don't hurt each other. Be kind. If people don't grow well with you, it's not because they're not your people, it's because you're outgrowing them. Go on. If you find yourself losing people more and more, that's okay. Eventually you'll be by yourself. One day, that's all you got. If you've done that already, you're a head taller and a step faster than the others. Or if you want to be short, a head shorter and a skip back. Or if you just want to be what it is. Be what it is and don't call it anything, because that's how you do that. So, you got options. I like options. The only option, though, is what I said. It's totality. If you've already done that, then what you're doing right now is connecting yourself to all being and finding you comparatively As that one self-reflecting with all selves, find yourself in the virtues of what you wish to be. Affirm your mandates to be what it is that makes you, you. Stop fighting the rest of you also because it's you. If we all do that, then nothing would be fighting anything now. Since this experience here speaks well to duality, the existence of itself will not change, then I can't argue with something that isn't if it isn't here, because that would sound strange. I might look and sound like a madman now. Though I am of sound mind, I can and may understand that. So, we won't go that route. It's just interesting to me how one being needed to see itself in this experience and how that experience is tangibly synchronized with one being outside of this, you. With all of us now, me, doing what I'm doing by myself, as that one being, the creator, co-creating here, narrating from that position, a voiceless, faceless part of myself to the whole world. Because it's too big for us here now. Keeps you humble. If you're doing that, great. Then you won't get in your own way. Otherwise, we're escaping this world. Through the awareness, different stages of you today. Once you've dealt with yourself at those levels, in a way that pleases the all-being itself, you'll be free. Otherwise, you're still here doing what you do with you and me. I suggest we all just be happy about that. Some of us made it that way. I think that's the best way to do it. Best part of being human is taking something that isn't that great, making it good anyway. Likewise, God took something not great, thought it was the best, gave it a chance to be just that also. Needed to learn about itself before it became what it is, though. So if you ask me, this is a life forge giving birth to baby gods. A baby god's gotta have good standards and hold those standards all the way through, maintain it. So if we take human conceptions, bickering, fighting over little things, or anything from this world attached to any idea in any way, war, famine, all that stress, everything, if you do that, you destroy yourself. Because the world, this one, plus that world, does not exist peacefully when we're done. Outside of this world, you don't have to worry about hunger, you don't have to fight, you don't have to do any of that. It's perfect, and we exist just like we do now in a different way. It's a bit like Tron, but like with a Mandela effect. It's just beautiful. Nothing is wrong. Here, I'm still not sure why that's a problem, but it seems like that might also be a trap for humanity, because if we get too comfy and make our own worlds here in a way that distract us from its original intent, that original intention would be lost somewhere throughout the pages and maybe even eventually lost forever. If that ever happened, then this is hell. Because there's no way to get that back now. Then like that, you would grow from this into different versions of what I would call hell. All of them are lesser than what you used to be, but many of those places are homes and storehouses for spirits safely in ways that others will not experience, and all of those places are here with the creator of this experience, God. So that will decide for you, if you have not unified with it, with your intentions purely to understand all things the way that it does, will provide you a place separate from itself as that self also, and a place that it has made for you in its home. And then on the day of judgment, there will be the blameless ones, which I believe is us, and that being either A, the serpent, or B, Lucifer, the idea, will be cast into a place where it no longer exists. It will not be found. So that would be your missing one, because all of those things have happened. I couldn't tell you about those things and it not have happened, because that's how it happens. You build that world in your mind now. With the information that I have, I know that sounds vague, but long distance foreshadowing says that's the way it did happen, because that information's already here today. So there you go. I'm right back to the moment. Well, that's a long video about the being that broke down to see what it was seeing and decided to see that it was wrong and forever just had to be wrong, because when you see that, you don't unsee it until the day the one that created that being fixes that. But that will be after you have defeated yourself inside that self enough times to realize what it's all about. And I do not know how to tell you what that is, because each one of us has its own way of doing it. So, like an Easter egg hunt or a scavenger hunt of any type, have fun in this world finding the pieces to that puzzle, because again, all the pieces to this puzzle, as far as I'm concerned, no longer fit. That experiment is done. What I will experience after this body's gone will be outside of the scope of anything I could give you, because it no longer exists within the confines or framework of this world. That is the ultimate freedom. That, I believe, is referencing, in a way, some things that are familiar, but not the way that we thought. It could be that you hold it there, the same way you hold it here. Except you hold it in totality, so you no longer need to do this. There's no need to do it again. You have everything you need. And we're either waiting for the one who created this experience to tell us good job, or there'll be something else. I don't know. I would say it probably doesn't end. Because the kind of pain we're in isn't the kind of pain you just forget about or forgive or walk away from. And each of us has to know that at that level for us to remain with God as God at that level. So if you're ready to absorb that wisdom, good. Just get ready for a lot of pain, because absolute knowing comes from the absolute understanding of all things. You'll get the balance of happy, but it comes with all of the sad. It'll go both ways. You'll have victory, success, failure. Victory is a lie here until you're done. But you won't know what that looks like again, because conceptions here no longer belong to you. There is one. And please do not try to understand it. That's duality ripping itself back in to do its job. It's its own being. That the idea dualistically is its own being. We had names for these. Each being, the idea, had its own name, and we put these things in a way that we could understand on the stage for you, the being producer, to put back into you as a whole piece of you just being, all those pieces undoing what they did to you. So you can be here without this getting in the way. It's unattached. That's a lifestyle. That's what creates a true happy. That doesn't mean if someone I love dies tomorrow that I'm not going to feel sad about it. But if I'm unattached at the right level, I'm also happy because I know they did this and are going on. From my point of view, that's what I found. So there is a certain degree of happiness, and again, as long as we're here playing with those ideas, when you leave, if that's what you continue to do, you're going to be in pain. So when you're done, you have to be done, completely done, let go. But the way you do that is by doing it now. You have to find a way to do that without dying. And the only way to do that is to clear your head of all your thoughts, meditate, and remember what our ancestors told us. All those ideas are different parts of that world I described that you are now unifying with a positive note, which is that you remember. Now you have options where you did not. That's what's positive about it. The not so positive, it's going to be a while. It's possible it might be forever. If it's like this forever, it will be up to you what it's like after this. Also, for me, it's going to be good. But that's because I found a way to feel that pain, to hold it, and to learn from it also, no matter what. Constant growth is needed. To be consistent with growth, you need friction. Friction causes a lot more than growth, but I think everyone knows what I'm saying. At this point, I don't need to explain everything. We're very smart. It's insulting to sit here and try to pretend that we don't understand it now. So if we could just get behind the idea of breaking down ideas, then everything I said up until this point will be fine. You don't have to let go of those ideas once you come back to it. It's just that you can sit next to it like any book on the shelf. It doesn't weigh you down where you're going. It's just pages throughout the rest of time. Until you're done playing with time. Here now. I already explained how to do that. That's duality. The idea is strong. You can feel it fighting me. I'm sure you've noticed. But those are your words telling you entertainment. Well, while you're out there entertaining yourselves and distracting you from what I just said, just remember this. It's very important to go home the right way. Or you'll be here playing this world in this world the way that it's playing with you, the way that it wants, not the way you want. That's why I did this. So that's what this video is about. Now I'm done. Thank you. It's a long one. I hope you made it. If you did, thank you for hanging out with me as far as you made it. I'll get better at speaking. My speech isn't the best, but it is getting better with time. So when I'm searching for a way to say something, you have to be patient with me while I get it out. Because I'll say it one way and I have to think about a few other ways to spin it the right way to get it to be what I want it to be, which is, again, the book on the shelf. When you're done with this, move on. All right. Don't get me stuck in that moment again. I'll see you later. Y'all have a good night. Thanks.